Hello and welcome to the channel. First of all, a big thank you to all of you. The subscriber list has gone to 800 plus. I'm so happy and I'm full of gratitude for all of you. This shows that you like the content. It's a big encouragement for me. Thanks for watching it, thanks for liking it, and thanks for sharing. I promise you I will keep on bringing more such videos which will be of great help to maintain your overall wellness. From today, I'm starting a new series in which I am inviting doctors and specialists from various fields. And to call the first one is Dr. Kuldeep Emma. He is a expert in holistic and integrated medicine. He has helped many patients to recover from life-threatening diseases, including cancer. Today, we're talking about mental health. So let's go and deep dive. Hello, Dr. Kuldeep. Welcome to the show. Thanks for finding time for this conversation. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Sunil. Thanks for inviting me to this important session.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions from my clients as well as I got it through internet and also while talking to some of them. So I will start. My first question is, what is mental health and what is mental health disorder?
Very important question and great question. And first of all, before starting, so whatever I'll be talking about is based on my clinical experience of diagnosing and treating over 3,500 people with varied mental health disorders. Before I start answering your question, I want to make one very important thing is that I want to admit that mental health disorders are actually very complex in nature. Why they are complex? Because they involve multiple body functions simultaneously. That means at the same time. So that's why it is complex. Now, coming to your question on what is mental health, there's a very beautiful definition of WHO, and I really like it. And when I started practicing, it actually gave me all that insight, and I would like to talk about it. A state of well-being in which every individual realizes their potential. Build and maintain a long-lasting relationship. This is something very, very important that I want to emphasize here, that whatever patients I have seen, all of them, they had relationship problems. This is one of the very key symptoms when it comes to mental health. People had problems with their parents, they had problems with their siblings, they had problems with their friends. And the ones who are married always have a problem with their spouses. And this is a very classical symptom or, uh, you know, uh, I would say symptom with all these patients. Second is cope with everyday stress of life. They are not able to cope up with everyday stress. It becomes a mole becomes like a hill for them. A small, very small stress becomes, they see it as a mountain and they don't know how to cross that mountain. And it happens on daily basis. Third very important thing is work productively and fruitfully. You might have also heard that some people either get disinterested in the job and they leave, but in a lot of cases, they are being fired because they are not able to now productively deliver things. And you might have also come across such cases, and I also have come across such cases. They are not able to cope up with the work. Last but not the least is a sense of purpose. So what happens eventually? People who were interested in certain activities till yesterday are no more interested in those activities. So they don't feel like doing those activities. This is another symptom with the mental health. So this is typically what happens with people who have mental health disorders. Now coming to your second question, what is mental health disorder? So I will try to explain it in few different perspectives. So the first perspective is that there are four key neurotransmitters in our brain, which we call dopamine, acetylcholine, GABA, and serotonin. These are the four key neurotransmitters. Now, what happens when these neurotransmitters are in imbalance? It results in, in mental health disorder. For example, let us take case of dopamine. When dopamine is in excess, which typically happens with ADHD patients, there is anxiety, there is lack of concentration, there is restlessness, and stuff like that. Memory issues, stuff like that. And when there it is deficient, it starts memory impairment, movement restrictions. For example, Parkinson's is a classical case of less dopamine. So similarly, other three other neurotransmitters, for example, serotonin on the other side, because dopamine and serotonin are inversely proportional. When serotonin becomes low, people have sleep disorders. They are not able to rest and relax. While as when serotonin is high, there are other issues which crop with these people. This is one perspective. I will go to the second perspective, and that is there are three things: brain, mind, and heart. So, what we say is when the mind resides in the heart in the night, it copies and saves the emotions that the heart is going through. And during the day, the mind shifts into the brain and it actually executes on all those emotions which it has saved during the night. For example, if there is a mood disorder, what happens? It manifests as depression. If there is restlessness, fear, worry, it results into anxiety. So that is how there is the second perspective. Third perspective, which I would like to talk about, is, is from Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine perspective. So there are two key energies in the universe, what we call yin or Chandranadi, or feminine or cold energy. Similarly, there is yang, which is called Suryanadi, hot or masculine energy. Now, what happens when there is excess of yang in the system? It results into anxiety. When there's excess of yin in the system, it results into depression. And you might have heard bipolar. When there's a switching between yin and yang energies in an individual, resulting into bipolar disorders. So this is how the mental health disorder can be explained from different perspectives. So these are the three different perspectives. Another very important question arises: why is mental health important? Why we are after we are talking about why do we want people to be mentally healthy? I will give a very simple and very simple answer. For a happy, prosperous, and healthy life and lifestyle, we need to be in good mental health. People suffering with mental health disorders are never happy. And imagine when somebody is not happy and somebody is not able to make right decisions, it impacts their prosperity. And we know, and I have mentioned it in my book also, how mental health disorders affects your physical health. Pains, allergies, it can be any number of problems, from very mild to very severe problems. So that's why mental health is very, very important, and we all need to focus on that. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor. It was so nice. Actually, while you were residing this, while you were going through this, I was thinking in the back of my mind that I see this commonly with the mycelites. So they are not able to sleep, they are not able to manage their stress, they are not able to let go things, and are also relationships many times they are impacted with their partners or at work. So it's very visible, and unfortunately, the awareness is low. And that was the one reason why we had this conversation. I thought this conversation could be a starting point for such peoples, and they can identify which category they belong and then take assistance from an expert to move on. Thank you for elaborating in detail. Okay, Dr. Kuldeep. My second question is, what are the challenges in mental health? I've heard mental health poses a lot of challenges with respect to the practitioner as well as to the person who's suffering from it. Can you throw some light on it, please?
Uh, Thanks, Sunil. I think very, very important question because this is something that actually impacts uh, people who are suffering with mental health almost on daily basis. So I would talk about certain key challenges that I have come across with these people. First is stigma and discrimination. So there's a lot of taboo around mental health. And when somebody figures out that the other person is suffering with mental health, there is kind of a discrimination that happens, a bias that happens towards that guy. And, either it's a positive thing happening towards him or it's a negative thing, mostly negative thing happening with that individual. So that's why we need, technology, which is and build solutions which are not human driven, removing the bias, also systemic bias, because we through technology we can build in systemic bias. Also, we need to remove that systemic bias. So very, very important to understand this. Uh, Second very important challenge is access to mental health care, because not everybody has got access to mental health care. It is an expensive affair for a lot of people to go through the different diagnostic and then go through the treatment. And once going through the treatment, there's a very high chance of relapse if it is not followed up properly and stuff like that. So that poses a lot of challenge. Third, I would say lack of awareness and understanding. Today, I can bet you that not many people, even at, I would say, some of the practitioners also don't understand the complete perspective. See, understanding the complete perspective is very important. As I said in one of my earlier videos, that mental health is a complex disorder which involves multiple body functions. So holistic approach delivers very good results compared to other approaches. That is my personal experience. So that's where it's very important why we need to educate people. And I think that through your effort coming forward and recording some of these sessions will actually help people to understand this. And people also need to understand it, right? So that is another challenge. So when we are diagnosing people who come with mental health issues, there are so many other issues which are co-occurring. So there are co-occurring disorders with them, where the mental health takes the back seat and all the other issues take the front seat. Two reasons. Because if somebody is, I will just give an example, somebody is suffering with diabetes, the practitioner takes prioritizes diabetes. But one of the major causes of diabetes is mental health disorder. So experience with mental health has not been so much compared to having experience of treating heart disease, treating lung disease, treating kidney disease, treating diabetes, high blood pressure, because these problems have been existing for a very, very long period. While as mental health issue is more of a modern kind of an issue. So that's where it gets neglected and takes a backseat most of the time. Last but not the least is relapse and ongoing management. Once a person has recovered, there is a very high chance of relapse. So people, they need to follow up at regular intervals so that the chance of relapse, especially in the first 1 to 1.5 years, there's a very high chance of relapse. So, you know, it's very important to educate the patient that, there is a high chance of relapse, you need to follow up. And I have seen people not doing that when it comes to mental health. So these are some of the 5 challenges that I have come across, had, trying to diagnose and treat mental health patients.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Kuldeep. And On this, I want to add for my viewers that although in some developed countries like Australia, US, UK, you have a helpline where if you are having mental health issue, you can call up and get some basic help. But it's not there in most of the countries where mental health issues are on rise. Again, I have seen in some companies they have mental health awareness camps. There is a mental health practitioner also, but that also percentage is very small. Although WHO is making efforts, awareness is on the rise. Hopefully, we'll see a rise on there. But thanks for a very good insight on the challenge on mental health. I hope viewers will get benefited. Okay, Dr. Kuldeep, thanks for telling us about mental health, how big it is the next question. So, how big actually is this problem?
Uh, Again, very important question. So I would say, as per World Health Organization, 1 billion people are estimated to be suffering from one or the other mental health issue, though anxiety and depression lead the table. Shockingly, 1 in 4 people will be affected by mental health illness at some point in their lives. 14.3% of deaths worldwide, or approximately 8 million deaths each year, are attributed to mental disorder. And unfortunately, experts are saying the number above may be just the tip of an iceberg. So that's very, very scary. And we don't have a proper method, tool to actually see how many people really are suffering globally today.
That's a very sad picture. So, the numbers you said are by itself very alarming. And at the same time, you are saying this could be only part of the picture, which is very alarming. And can I club one more question back to back on this one? I have heard, I have
Yeah.
read, and have seen also that COVID has sort of exposed it in such a big, has actually exploded. I would say that will not be wrong to say. Mental health cases have got exploded after COVID. Do you believe in this? Do you think it's true?
Absolutely. I will tell you, before COVID, out of 10 patients at my clinic, I hardly used to see one patient having mental health disorder, which used to be mild, not, I would say chronic. Today, I would not hesitate to say, out of 10, it's 6 to 7 people, and they have chronic problems. And I would I strongly attribute it to COVID because of three reasons. During COVID, we all had to face social isolation. Imagine, social isolation itself is a big problem, and it has given rise to a lot of psychosomatic issues. Now, what are psychosomatic issues? People are having problems, but there is no cause to that. Practitioners or doctors are not able to find the cause. So this is psychosomatic. Second problem is constant emotional stress, like fear. Everybody feared for their own death or for the death of their near and dear ones. It actually brought in a lot of worries because of a lot of uncertainties in terms of job, in terms of so many other things. And grief has been at the center stage. Unfortunately, everybody in the world has experienced one of their near or dear ones. They lost one of their near or dear ones. So these are some of the, because this has constant emotional stress has been there for almost 2.5 years. Third is basically everybody got infected. That's my take. And some showed symptoms, some did not show symptoms, or some, I would say, some got tested, some did not get tested. And finally, last nail in the coffin has been the vaccine, because we have heard uh, Pfizer coming out very clearly talking about side effects. We have heard recently Covishield, and it has brought some kind of instability in some people. So I would say that all these factors have actually impacted more to mental health than any other uh, organ or system in the body. And that's where I'm also suspecting that there will be more than 1 billion people globally suffering with mental health disorder. So I think probably the experts are also taking that as an input and saying that the problem may be more severe on the ground.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for explaining it in so detail. Yes, it looks like we have been in a roller coaster for this, and it is still on the rise. And that's why even the stress is going up, and probably that is also fueling it. And WHO by itself says stress is the 21st century epidemic. So everything is piling up, and we are going up and up. Okay, we have learned what it is, how it is impacted, how big it is, how COVID has impacted. I want to ask you, doctor, does diet play a role on mental health?
Very important. I think there has been a lot of talks on diet, exercise, the sleep, lifestyle, and diet really plays a key role. I can explain it to you. I spoke about four key neurotransmitters of brain: dopamine, acetylcholine, GABA, and serotonin. Now, we know dopamine and serotonin are inversely proportional to each other, but they have a very common factor. For synthesis of these two neurotransmitters, the precursor is carbohydrate, right? So if people are not taking right amount of carbohydrate, they will not be able to produce dopamine and serotonin in the required quantity they need. A lot of patients who have undergone strict routine diet plans, I have seen one very evident symptom across all these, that is sleep disorder. And they have so many other things, but the sleep disorder is very, very evident. And it, because once they start feeling it or facing it, they realize that, yeah, this is a problem that they are having. Similarly, acetylcholine is a protein based. If you don't take right amount of protein, acetylcholine will not be produced in the right amount because the precursor for that is protein. Now, GABA. GABA is very important, and the precursor for that is non-protein plant-based food. So plant-based food is also very, very important. We also need to take certain plant-based foods. So now why these are important? I will tell you. Dopamine is directly the beta waves, which are required, which keep us away, which keep us working during the day. Then acetylcholine is the alpha waves, which makes us to feel relaxed. The GABA is the theta waves, and serotonin is the delta waves, the deep sleep. So these waves, brain waves, keep changing during the day, course of day. But imagine somebody having high dopamine. How? Because they cannot, like in addictions, they have very high dopamine, but they have very low acetylcholine. So they are not able to relax. So they need a drink, and then they say that we need a drink to relax. And once they drink, they feel relaxed. So that's how this whole pattern works. But it's very, very important to have a balanced diet, because certain things have carbohydrates as precursor for synthesis, certain have protein, and certain have plant-based foods. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. More than that, it has clarified a lot of doubts, and how a diet can help us and how a diet can take us on the negative side. It can, we may be sitting in home, meeting all the good people, being in all the good company, in doing all the good things, and still have mental health issues because we are not feeding our brain with right food and we are not having the right chemistry in the brain. Thank you, doctor, for clarifying it.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Kuldeep, it's time to know about your innovation and how it is sustainable and what is the value it is creating in the lives of people. Please enlighten us on this.
Okay. There is an little bit of story, and then I will come to this
Ah, sure.
innovation
Please
and
go ahead.
how, how exactly we are contributing to sustainable development goals. So I got introduced to sustainable development goals in 2018. And when I got introduced to it, I felt that this is a very powerful and very strong framework. And I got a desire that I want to contribute to, right? So in 2019, while I was going through the complete SDG goals, 17 goals, it was very clear that it is SDG goal 3 where I would like to focus on. So I started digging more deep, and then some more like-minded people globally, including yourself. So we decided that we want to do something and bring all the experience that we have on mental health and bring that experience and help in terms of building something. So if you see goal 3, objective 3.4, where in the second half of this statement, I will read the statement for you. By 2030, reduce by one-third premature mortality from non-communicable disease through prevention and treatment, and promote mental health and well-being. So it is in the second part of this objective 3.4, but we felt, and the alarms for mental health had uh, already started, that the mental health is, is the next, and World Health Organization was also talking about, stress and stuff like that. So we all decided that we want to contribute in this area. Now we we wanted to figure out what exactly is the challenge on the ground. So what we realized is that the biggest challenge with mental health is that there is no proper diagnostic available. So today, the tools that are available revolve around psychometric tests, are either symptom-based questionnaires or generalized anxiety and depression-related questions, which doesn't help uh, in a very great extent. So we decided that we would like to combine all the experiences that each one able and see that how exactly we can help to build a diagnostic tool, which actually covers the key dimensions of mental health. So we all came together and we started working end of 2019, and we started building something. We have done almost, I would say, 15 versions of it, where in each version we actually added some new dimension. And it was all coming from the experience that we had at our clinics while seeing these patients. So finally we were able to build a solution into 2.5 years, which is an online solution, because again, access, all those challenges that we realize that there is a lot of stigma around it. People want to get tested. They don't want to go to a lab. They don't want to go anywhere. They want to get tested staying in their home using an online solution. They want to. So it's a questionnaire based, though the questions are not similar to psychometric test questions, but these are questions based on the location, based on the symptoms, based on the body signs, based on the functional things in an individual, and like that, so many other parameters that we have considered into this whole thing. And like we spoke about impact of COVID, we have got that also, added into it. Lifestyle related challenges, like we spoke about diet, as those kind of things. So we have got this whole thing covered based on our knowledge, and we are continuously enhancing this tool. Whenever we come to know about a new dimension, we are enhancing this tool. So we actually did tests with almost 500 people. We did tests, and we realized that these tests are pretty accurate. They are highly accurate when it comes to diagnosing the mental health. If somebody has a mental health issue, it will tell us whether it is poor, average, good, great, or excellent. On those five parameters it tells us, and we proudly call this tool as mental health thermometer. Like a thermometer, when you put it in your mouth, it will tell you the temperature of your body. Similarly, when you actually go through these, when you answer these questions, and then it tells us what is the mental health state of an individual on these five parameters: poor, average, good, great, and excellent. So that's how I would say that inspiration came from SDG, and then we built this tool. But now today, if I tell you that we are actually contributing to three SDG goals. One is goal number 3 we spoke about. Second is SDG goal 11, which is sustainable cities and communities. Through this tool, we are producing zero waste without doing any blood tests, without producing any waste. We are able to test whether that individual has got mental health issues or not. It also contributes to SDG Goal 12, which is ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. So what happens when we are actually diagnosing this? We are using green energy. When we are treating, we are also emphasizing that we use green energy. We use electroacupuncture. We avoid usage of medicines wherever it is possible. Not that we are limiting ourselves. No, wherever it is possible, because we use natural resources to produce, manufacture these medicines. So we are using green energy. We are doing auricular, we are doing biofeedback, where you don't use any medicine per se, and we are able to restore these people back to normalcy, and with whatever minimal medication is required. So that's why it is from SDG coming to this innovation, and then also delivering a very neat and clean solution around this.
Thank you, doctor, for clarifying and explaining us all this in detail. Just for the benefit of viewers, Sustainable Development Growth are basically initiative of UN to ensure that we attract like-minded people like Dr. Kuldeep, develop cost-effective, innovative medicine and healing techniques that can be spread across the globe without creating much medical waste and hazardous things. Thanks. Okay, Dr. Kuldeep, next question for you is, what are the top self-care practices which a person can do on his own and sort of either stay mentally healthy or improve his condition? Is there any you'll share with us?
Absolutely. I think, if it is, I would say if somebody has a mild mental health issue, with focusing on these, top self-care practices will actually help them to improve. And also, if somebody is suffering, they can also get benefited with these practices. I would say, first of all, optimal usage of digital devices. Because with digital devices, there are two kinds of problems that actually occur to an individual. One, the electromagnetic waves that come from the digital devices, especially the blue light that has been in the talks for a long time, that actually hurts us very badly, especially if we use digital devices late in the evenings, because this blue light acts like sun rays for us. It actually tells our pineal gland that the sun is still there, so you don't need to switch your circadian rhythm, which is moving from uh, from uh, awake to sleep, stopping the production of cortisols to melatonin production. Second big problem with using digital devices is the posture. And I can tell you, a lot of people, when they use their phone, they use it like this. So when you bend your neck, depending on how much you are bending your neck, it is as bad as somebody hitting you with a 10 kg rod. So in my book also I have mentioned, if you have C1 problems, you will have problems with eyes, you will have problems with your blood pressure, you will have allergic problems, and there are so many other problems that can happen, sinus, all that. And that only happens when you have a bad posture, when your neck falls like this. So two things: blue light and posture. I think if people correct that, avoid using digital devices late in the evenings, I think that will help. Now imagine when we are in an electromagnetic blanket, right? It's something like when you put something in an oven, in a microwave oven, what happens? It depletes of water. Whatever dish you put there, it depletes the dish from water. Same way, our body is depleted of water because we are in an electromagnetic blanket. So we need to take right amount of water. Let me tell you the stat. 80% of the patients who visit my clinic are having water deficiency. They are deficient of water. And then they don't realize water deficiency, water gets stored in the discs, the jelly discs that are there in our back. That is where it gets stored. And if some organ needs water, it actually takes water from those discs. Not only that, lot of stomach related problems, because when you drink water, the stomach also stores some amount of water, helps in digestion. People having acidity, reflux, also is a result of lack of water. So we need to take right amount of water. And I generally suggest that whatever is the size of your ear, you measure it from the tip to the end of the lobe in inches, and that is the amount of water one shall consume. And if you are doing too much of heavy exercise and you sweat a lot, you add this lobe, additional inches of this lobe. If somebody has 2 inches of air, they need to take 2 liters of water. If somebody has 2.5 inches of this, they need to take 2.5 liters of water as a thumb rule. And because size of our air is as big as size of our kidneys. So optimal usage of digital devices, having the right posture, drinking the right amount of water is key. Now coming to breath. Breath is the only thing that connects us with universe. Imagine somebody stops breathing, that person is dead, right? So breath is very important. And as per Sora Yoga, the Almighty has given us certain number of breaths, which if taken at 15 breaths per minute, our lifespan is 120 years. But today, in place of 15 breaths per minute, on an average, the breath rate has come down, has increased to 25 breaths per minute. So that reduces the lifespan from 120 years to 72 years. And now imagine those who are stressed, their breath rate increases to 30 and their lifespan reduces to 50. So breath is very important. Second very important thing is positive thinking. You might have heard pH. pH, which is uh, basically how acidic or how alkaline is our body, is a very important factor. If you see serious problems like cancer and others, where degeneration happens, our body is more acidic. Our body has to be at a pH of 7.36 to 46, between 7.36 to 7.46. And the moment it falls below 7.15, we have a chance of having cancer because of our acidic body. So I have seen with patients taking plant-based food, taking good care of this thing. But if their thinking is not positive, they will never be able to change their pH level from acidic to alkaline. So positive thinking is very, very important. Coming to next one is basically our body is an electromagnetic circuit. And I have very well explained it in my book also. And in an electrical circuit, there are eddy currents, which are called harmful currents, which get produced in the system, and it actually damages the system because those eddy currents become high. So to avoid those eddy currents in electrical systems, what we do is we do lamination so that these eddy currents get reduced. Now, our human body is, there are I call them pseudo eddy currents, which get produced in the human body and are believed to be cause of lot of problems. in causing a lot of diseases. So we cannot do lamination in humans. So what we do is we suggest and recommend, highly recommend, that you walk barefooted as much as possible. Also, at the same time, if you can walk barefooted on grass or on sand or on soil, it will actually, for half an hour, it will actually earth or ground all those pseudo eddy currents and release you from all those problems or harmonics that gets produced in a human body. So very, very important is walk barefooted in nature. Another very important thing is disciplined life, diet, exercise, and sleep. I can keep talking about this because I have seen this as a big problem with almost all my patients. What happens if you see today the pattern of sleep with most of the people will sleep somewhere after 12 in the night or 1 in the night. Though they might be taking the right amount of rest, but body executes certain functions at some point in time. I'm just from 9 to 11, body is actually warming up, right? And typically people who after dinner take ice cream during that time. I have seen a lot of people, and they take ice cream during during that time, which actually again cools your body. So 9 to 11, your body gets warmed up. 11 to 1, your body releases a lot of chemicals and hormones so that the next stage, that is 1 to 3, the body starts repairing. That's when a lot of cholesterol is released from the liver. Now imagine, because body has to be in the right state of rest, in the right state of temperature when all this process happens. And somebody not sleeping, well in time, imagine the kind of damage they are doing on daily basis. It's very, very difficult to recover such people. You might be, though the minimum amount of sleep is 8 hours, you might be taking 8 hours of sleep, but that is not enough. Over a period of time, it will actually impact your health. Lifestyle. People are living very hectic lifestyle. They have done investments in multiple things, and then they are worried because one or the other day the investment goes up, down, and all that. And they are always worried. They are always concerned. That again impacts them. Diet, we spoke about diet, though I spoke only about four key neurotransmitters in the brain, but there are so many other functions which are dependent on taking the right amount of diet. Similarly, exercise. Doing a 30 to 45-minute exercise is very, very important. It releases endorphins, which are the relaxing hormones within our body. Now, again, a lot of people over exercise. They are, and then they create another kind of stress for themselves. And then the other set of people, they don't do any exercise at all. So this is very, very important. Focusing on this is very important. Sleeping not later than 10:30, and waking up by 5:30 is the right pattern. And if you can take a 15-minute or 30-minute nap between 1 and 3 p.m., that is good. That's fine. But I've seen people, they sleep at, they take 2-3 hours of nap, and then night they are not able to sleep. So that is very, very important. Then addictions. One thing I want to tell, addictions, whatever you like, whatever foods you like, whatever things you like, you are most likely be allergic to those things. So if you like certain foods, very very, very high chances that you will be allergic to that. And addictions, especially substance abuse, alcohol, smoking, these are very dangerous addictions, and one needs to actually see how best they can get rid of these addictions for a better mental health. And last is that if you are not able to restore yourself, your mental health with this, please seek support from an expert. And that's very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kuldeep. Thank you for your time today. And I think I have asked all the questions I had noted down for you.
And I'm sure when the viewers will watch it, they will really cherish it. And of course, there will be some more questions. Maybe we'll do one more podcast in coming time. But for today, thank you very much for being with us. Have a good time. Thanks again.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching this podcast. I hope the information shared will be of help and you can take away a lot of things and implement them and improve your overall mental and physical health. Dr. Emma talked about a book. Here is the front page of the book. You can order it on Amazon and it has a lot of self-help tips which can help you in improving your health and wellness. Go to Amazon and order it. In case you want to know more about Dr. Emma and the activity he does, you can visit the following website and stay updated. Thanks for watching. Have a good time. Stay healthy. Stay happy. Bye for now.